Good evening, students. Welcome to this small video learning sessions based on the tourism concepts. And in this particular video session or learning video session, today we are going to talk about two important topics which are very important as far as exam or the competitive exams are concerned. The topic which we are going to talk about is the nature and characteristics of tourism. Till now, after having so much of discussion in classroom or through YouTube video sessions, we are enabled to understand what is tourism is and what all are the different types of definitions of tourism. But here, in this particular process, we need to understand what is the exact nature of the tourism. So, to define the exact nature of the tourism, we need to understand what is tourism in context to its nature aspect. Of course, tourism is a phenomena which is fragile in nature. That meant for it is very sensitive in nature, and therefore you can witness after having this type of corona era, we have almost witnessed, or every one of us have witnessed, that there was almost no tourism activity being confined in the world during this pandemic. As far as another aspect which is related to its nature, it is risky in nature. Tourism is a risky business as far as business point of view is concerned, because people those are involved in doing this particular business, it may be perished anytime. It may have the nature of getting ruined anytime by because of certain reasons, certain characteristics. It is highly demand centric business. As far as tourism is concerned, it is demand oriented business or demand oriented industry. As far as its aspect of consideration is concerned, the nature of seasonality into this business is also being witnessed. So these are some typical nature of this particular phenomena called tourism phenomena as whole. Now, if we can call up our new us ideas or understanding of concept after pandemic, we can witness certain other points that this is highly human centric in nature, that we have already talked about by this phenomena's definition. It is also the trend centric. Trends in terms of we are talking about when people or masses are moving from one place to another, they have got the trends to be followed by them. So this is what one of the another nature which we have understood by after practicing the act of tourism. It is variety of nature. You can witness tourism as a variety full of activities, and therefore its nature may be defined as varied from one to another. Last but not the least, it has been witnessed through this particular pandemic or specific activities of different or higher reputation, that tourism is a complex phenomenon. So it was about what is tourism is and what is the nature of tourism all about, mainly in this context. The next topic, which is very important to understand, the characteristics of tourism. So to understand the characteristics of tourism, we can understand that tourism is a phenomena, therefore its characteristics will be differ than that of what the product is all about, because tourism is service in nature. It is more or less the identical goods. Identical good or any identical good is the amalgamation of products and amalgamation of human by the name of providing service or provided service by that particular human being. So this needs to be understood as a phenomena which is very important for the mankind. So let us understand this particular thing in a very quick look PPT presentation. By the name of its characteristics, we may understand tourism as a phenomena, and this phenomena is very different than that of product is all about. It is intangible in nature. Anything which we consider as intangible meant for it is non-physical. We really have the limitations by which we can only touch it. We need to have the feeling of the tourism because there is no sense of or there is a lesser sense of tangibility in terms of tourism. Sum total of tourism phenomena is of course intangible by the way. Now if we are understanding what is intangibility is all about. Intangibility is an aspect where the feature of being touched or being felt is not an omnipresence of physical nature. Rather, it is sometimes psychological or experiential only. The next characteristics which we need to understand about tourism is very important one, that is its nature of being perishable. Since it's a service or it is an identical good, therefore it is perishable. Of course, we can talk about an identical good can be called up as tourism good, so it is perishable. Let us take an example for that. If is someone is serving as a tour guide and he is providing commentary to you, and if you are not having an attention on it, you or the service of your guide will be perishable. Similarly, this is for the identical goods. While having your tour, a cup of tea or coffee or food served or experience which is already been offered to you or going to be offered to you, it is perishable in nature. This is not going to exist forever. Rather, it is perishable after some time. Anything which is going to retain, that is only going to be your experience. The next characteristics of tourism, which is very important to be understood, it is variability. See, the service is being provided or catered by the service persons, and it is definitely an individual's difference can be felt by the service bearer or meant for the experienced by the tourist is being witnessed differently because individuals are different, or even the individual who he or she is similar may not have the similar kind of working capacity at different hours of the services. Therefore it is heterogeneous or variable in nature, and it is highly heterogeneous and highly variable. The kind of or amount of service which you are predicting or expecting, it is also psychological in nature, where perception of an individual also have got the reciprocation of the service. Of course, it is inseparable. The person or people those are providing you the service, if at all you are there on tour, you suppose being boarded onto the plane service may not be separate within that entity, or the crew member those are providing services to you, they needs to be there only, or you need to be there for availing the services. It is quite similar for any service or every service. Therefore the services or the nature, because of it is a service, is inseparable in nature. If you would like to have a cup of tea, you need to be there, or tea related service is inseparable in nature, so as guiding, so as sightseeing, so as touring, etc. Last but not the least, it is rather one of the most important characteristics of service of tourism or tourism characteristics. It is lack of ownership. Nobody have the ownership, or you are not having the ownership like you have on the product. If suppose I am preparing a lecture, I have got a pen or paper. This is my own pen. I have the ownership or the right on that. But once you are talking about identical tourism goods, you don't have the ownership on those. You boarded the plane, but the plane is not yours. You boarded the train, train is not yours. You have seen the Taj Mahal at the background of mind. The symbol of Taj Mahal is there by projecting tourism concepts. The same Taj Mahal is not being owned by anyone or the tourist. So the characteristics of tourism is very vital in nature. As far as this particular class is concerned, after this particular session, we are able to understand the nature of tourism and characteristics of tourism. Students, as far as this particular class is concerned, this recorded YouTube purpose video is going to clarify the idea of understanding tourism concepts more better. For more clarity or self-learning or assessment, you kindly prefer to opt for self-assessment test, which is there in the description box by a link by which you can assess yourself and submit your responses in view of learning of this particular session. So for today, it is good night.